Good evening, everybody. This is Under the Shell number 13, the lucky 13. And today I've got my best friends from Canada. This is Wyatt, as always, and Lindsay. So, actually, good day, people. How are you?
Hey man, I'm doing great. How you doing? Are you still sick?
Yeah, pretty much. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long sickness. But yeah, it's getting better. I mean, I've still got like 4 days of quarantine, and I can be a normal person again.
Oh, okay. All right. True. So yeah, lucky number 13. Is the superstition apply over there in Bulgaria?
Yeah,
there's
I think
different-
so. Yeah, but
It does.
well, it's something like general folklore, but nobody really gives a shit.
So in North America, there's lots of buildings that literally just don't have a 13th floor because it's a serious superstition here, man.
Oh
People
shit!
People
Really?
get really uptight about it. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's because I think this is where it's from, right?
I don't know where it's from, actually.
There's superstitions around numbers all over the world, and everywhere you go that has a set of superstition around associated with certain numbers, they have different numbers. It's almost never the
Yeah.
same.
That's true.
For an example, is here 7 is considered a very lucky number, but in I think India 7 is like the worst number.
Oh, maybe China?
Is it China?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it's, something like that.
But yeah, it's crazy. Nobody can really agree on what's the unlucky and what's the lucky numbers.
Yeah.
So that'll go to show right there that I
Yeah.
don't think there's a whole lot to any of it.
Well, we've got something like the Friday 13th, and it's a bad luck or something like that. But nobody really gives a damn, and some
Yeah.
people even consider it lucky to be something will happen on Friday the 13th, and they're excited.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Maybe that's just because American culture has like propagated it.
Yeah.
With movies and
Yeah.
film's the big one.
Yo,
But we have stories here of people getting like trapped in elevators on the 13th floor for like days on end and stuff like that.
yeah, I've
I've never
heard
heard that before.
these stories like when I was a
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah, exactly.
we used to scare each other. By the way, Halloween passed, and here in Bulgaria and actually in the whole Eastern Europe, people seem to be pretty uptight about it. I don't know why. It's something like 50-50. Half of the people are really enjoying it and making costumes. Well, this year there were no parties, but people are just generally enjoying it. And the other half are like the complete opposite. They're so much against it because it's foreign culture. We have our own holidays and whatever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were pain in the ass because Facebook was full of posts like
Anti-Halloween posts.
anti-Halloween. This is American bullshit. We have our own holidays.
I bet you
These-
the average age is like 50 and above.
The
Absolutely.
people saying that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There you go.
Definitely.
We have this holiday, which is, well, it's not actually a single holiday. It's the whole of March. It's something like pagan stuff. So when March comes and you tie on your wrists a band, which is just two threads. One is white and one is red. They're just kind of like a popsicle, this pattern, and you just tie it on your hand, and this is considered for health, good luck, something. And whenever you see the first stork for that year, which indicates the end of
First
the
what?
stork, the bird,
Like
the big
the bird, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The one that's supposed to bring babies.
Oh, all right.
Wyatt, you missed your
My
sex
bad.
ed. Yeah.
Sorry.
So whenever you see the first one for the year, this indicates that the winter has ended and you need to tie your band on a tree, like superstitious stuff.
Wow.
So
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
yeah, so a lot of people who hate Halloween are saying, I'll be celebrating Halloween whenever the Americans start tying bands on their wrists. And I'm like, oh, fuck that.
Wait. The Americans, but Halloween wasn't an American tradition.
I think
It was just European,
Oh.
right?
Is it?
It was European and brought over to America when we colonized it. But I think it dates back before that, didn't it? Or was it here that it started?
I thought
I'm
it
not
was
sure.
here.
Is it?
I think it's
could be wrong.
American. Yeah.
Where's
think it
Jamie?
is.
Where's Jamie when you need him?
Yeah, need an assistant.
I always thought that it has something to do with the Salem and the witches and stuff like that.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Dude,
Yeah.
they were up to all kinds of crazy shit in Boston, man.
Yeah, they were. They were. Boston has crazy history.
Yeah, it does. It does.
does.
I don't like Boston. I'm not a fan. If you're
I know.
listening from Boston, I apologize. A couple times I've been, it's been awful. It's. I'm from Canada, and it's colder than hell in Boston, and the people are just as cold.
So today we've got Lindsay. Lindsay, would you say a few words about yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Lindsay. I go by Lindevil, kind of like a pseudonym. I work with Wyatt full-time on his YouTube channel. I work newly on my own YouTube channel, and I have a fashion brand called Lindevil where I sell mostly underwear.
By the way, today I watched your video about the Ollie Sykes fashion. And I was like, damn, I never even watched his clothes, I've never even considered them. And here she is, saying how cool it is to have something on your sleeve.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's been a big thing for me. Even just watching those videos, like I never considered any of it.
Absolutely.
Because like, I don't know, it's weird too. Coming from the scene that all of us sort of identify with, it's not a scene that really is very well dressed at all. We're all just a bunch of idiots layering black.
Yeah,
That's what it is. 90%
Yeah.
of it. And I never even considered expressing myself through clothes, because all clothes were for me, it was covering up and blacking myself out. Like my whole life. And that's kind of changed in the last couple of years. I'm actually wearing green right now. And like there was one point where you took a picture of my closet and there wasn't a single color.
I
It
know.
was all black.
Not one single item.
Yeah, when you first moved in with me, it was that way. There was just nothing. Now I have to get more lighter clothes. Honestly, the biggest reason why I started doing it was because of the studio, and when I wear black with a black background, it just
it sucks.
disappear. Yeah, you know all about
Yeah.
that, Dimitar.
Yeah, you need a special hair light, so yeah, it sucks. It's better if you just have light clothing.
Yeah, so I got off topic. Let's go back to Lindsay. Lindsay, what have you found since starting the channel? What's some of the good things, some of the things that you might have not expected to uncover in your own sort of content creation?
I guess I was pleasantly surprised how many people found the videos organically, just like whether they came across it on their timelines or the YouTube suggestion bar, without ever having known about you and me on your channel. And just kind of like they come to it on their own and they're just like, oh, wow, this is like a cool random thing that I found. And it makes me really happy because, I don't know, it's like, it's good that people are stumbling across it, Because I feel as though it's filling in a little bit of a niche. Like I haven't myself seen any other videos of people breaking down like metal musician fashion. So
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That was my initial take on it. Was like when she first started, I looked around and went, wow, there's like 101 of me, and I'm running a program where I'm training people to be like me. So I'm just creating more of me's, you know.
There's so many of you now.
There was so many of me before I even started doing it, So arguably, I shouldn't say many of me. Basically, most of them are many of Kobus or many of Luke Holland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because those are the two big ones that sort of made it possible to even do this. And now in your space, I'm looking around and like, I thought at first maybe it was just because of my unfamiliarity with the subject matter, but engaging in it more and really looking for it now to see what's out there, there's basically nothing. You're pretty much alone in the dark, and that's a great place to be on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Especially if it's content worthwhile, which in my opinion it definitely is.
While I was watching today, and it's not only today. I mean, I've watched one or two of the videos when she started the channel first, and I thought to myself, man, this is like the punk rock MBA channel, but it's for clothing, and it's so cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
He had a couple of videos about like specific sort of like fashion moments, I guess. I didn't watch them though. I just came across them. And I kind of thought like, is this spot on? Is this accurate? Does he know what he's saying here?
When I watch Finn's videos, about half the time I feel like that. See, that's the difference between you and the punk rock MBA is you actually have a degree in what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I do.
And
yeah.
he just kind of Googles around and hopes for the best.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good because that was exactly my thoughts, because Lindsay's actually an authority about these things, and it's always nice to, well, if you want to watch photography, you watch a photographer, you watch Peter McKinnon. If you want to watch drumming, you're watching Wyatt. You know, if you want to watch clothes, you're not watching me.
Fair.
Fair enough, dude. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so let's talk more about your rise into content creation. So you didn't start. I mean, a lot of what I told Dimitar beforehand, a lot of what we're obviously going to be talking about today is more for the audience than me, because, you know, living with you and being with you for the last 4 years, I know all of it. So
Of course.
Inform everyone for us. You didn't start down the path of any of this. Like, you didn't set out with YouTube videos in mind, or a lot of the things that you're doing today never really came into your consciousness until later. So, like, walk us through how that came to be, and where your sort of your goals lie now going forward.
So I started, like, I went to fashion school, and then while in fashion school, I had this sort of inspiration to start my own brand because I really am passionate about underwear. So I started doing that, and then at the same time, I was working for other random fashion brands, like sewing baby clothes or sewing dance costumes. And, like, all those jobs were very sort of, like, they were at small businesses, so it wasn't like working in, like, some sort of, like, crappy corporate environment. Like, they were still very lax and chill and enjoyable to work at. But at the same time, I kind of thought, like, I wish I could just sort of work for myself instead. And then with all of the sewing knowledge that I had acquired from school and those jobs, after I graduated, I started just doing freelance sewing work for people. And I just posted ads online, and people would come to me just left, right, and center about random stuff, whether it be like some guy who wanted dog collars sewn or some lady with, I don't know, like tank tops. And then I would just start doing that. And I don't know, it was really hard work. It was really exhausting, and I was just kind of getting by on it. And then I thought, like, or me and Wyatt kind of thought together. We came up with this idea together. Like, I'm working for myself, and it's a ton of work. I'm putting in all of this effort, and it's not really leading to anything big at the end of the road. So why don't I just spend all that time and work for his channel instead? And then we both do that, and sort of like that's how we both make money, and we split everything. And so we sort of like formulated this plan. And then last winter, I decided to get rid of all my clients. I gave them to other people that I knew in the fashion industry, and I moved in with Wyatt and started working on his channel full time, and just sort of learned from scratch how to edit videos and how to help him with like little audio things here and there, whether it be like setting up microphones or whatever, running his social media, answering emails, doing all that kind of admin work. And then the more I did it, the more my skills that I had already had from before started to shine through. Like when I was doing thumbnails, my Photoshop skills would come through, and, you know, just little things like that. And then I don't know, it just started to feel more and more right. And then we started to share the work more equally, like 100% 50-50. And then once I got to the point where I'm at today, maybe 8 months, or how far are we into this? Like 10 months, almost a year of working together solidly.
Yeah, we just passed it.
Yeah.
I
So
think we're a year now.
yeah, about a year of working together, like sharing the work 50-50 for your channel. I don't know, I guess I realized I had acquired all of the skills to do this for myself, and Wyatt sort of encouraged me and pushed me towards doing that as well. And I thought, like, I have all this fashion knowledge. I don't do that much with it anymore. I don't really have excuses to sew anymore. So why not make a channel about all of this stuff that I care about? And so that's how I ended up here.
Very good.
Yeah, that's great. First off, I want to say that the lady with the tank tops sounds a little like a horror film.
Yeah.
But oh well. Yeah, like a major character in a horror film. But actually, this is because, as you guys probably know, I already have one student now. So he's going to start a channel, which is, again, a drum channel. And I'm continuing the work of Wyatt of creating a bunch of us. You know?
Perfect. That's what we need.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and this was actually what we were talking about yesterday. And I was like, dude, you have to do so much work prior to starting the channel, because, you know, you need to make a logo. You need to acquire the editing skills. You need to educate yourself about shooting, about sound, about all these things, all these hats that Wyatt's talking about them in pretty much every podcast. And it seems that for you it happened really organically, because you acquired those skills in time without actually having the intent of creating a channel. And once you got them all, you were just like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly it. Once I was able to just edit videos from start to finish on my own. And then I did a couple one-off videos on his channel where it was just me by myself, and those ended up being really successful and working out, and I was really happy with the final product. So That was sort of like the first little like dipping my toe into making my own videos.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was
Yeah.
that was the trial. That was the test. So like the first thing she did was for the longest time, like I've been on YouTube since 2012, and like when we met, like I'd say 2 years into our relationship, even before my channel was my full-time job, I was suggesting that she should do something on YouTube. And like for the longest time, I really wanted to see you do something. As you know, I mean, I was going on about it for so long. And then what we decided to do was we finally came to the point where we're like, all right, she's been in, like, that's something that you said throughout this discussion so far that I have sort of changed my vocabulary on. And you kept saying my channel. Like, if you look at the highest grossing content on my channel, and you also look at the vast majority of videos, it's no longer a drumming channel. You know, it's Wyatt and Lindsay. That's like the main content people come to Wyatt Stav for now is Wyatt and Lindsay doing something. It doesn't have to always be reactions, even though majority is reactions. But there's lots of other things that we've done, like house tours and vlogs, where you're still in those videos.
Yeah.
So really, that's our main channel. That's how I look at that.
Yeah.
And
I like the way you say that.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you look at where the money's coming from to pay for our life, we're both doing the work on that channel together, and we're both in the videos that are accumulating the most amount of income. So it's definitely our channel at this point. But at one point we were like, all right, well, she's been in more videos now than I have even drum covers, and I have even lessons. And why don't we see if she can actually sort of step out and do this, like remove the training wheels and do this on her own, because she's now comfortable in camera. And then we tried it with, you tried it with your first fashion breakdown, where you took a group of artists and you explained the fashion behind them. I think you talked about Tillian, you talked about Maria Brink, you talked about Oliver Sykes in that one, right?
Yep.
Yeah. You talked about, there's one more I'm missing.
A guy from not Pierce the Veil, Veil of Maya.
Oh yeah, that's
the
right.
Guitarist.
The guitarist from Veil of Maya.
Yeah.
That's correct, right? So you did that video, and we got a great response. We got huge response from it. People really seemed to love it, and I honestly thought the video was amazing. I was watching the video back days after we had posted it.
You found it really interesting.
I found it really interesting, and something else I really enjoyed doing was we sort of took it on 50-50, because you did the research, the talking, all the content, but then you weren't editing at my level yet.
Yeah.
I mean, you are now. All of your videos on your channel are 90% you, and I just come in and do the finishing touches that I still am specialized in, specifically audio for the most part.
I know, yeah.
That's my background. But back then, I was doing all the editing still, at least the really creative stuff, the stuff that you need a little bit more of vocabulary for. It's not just so drag and drop like the reactions are with the format that we have. And I polished that video, and as I was polishing, I'm like, this is fucking awesome. And days after, I just kept going back and watching it, and she would walk into the room, and she'd be like, what are you doing? I'm like, watching your video again. It's a great video. And then after that, Hypa came out, and this was months later. I think like 2 months later.
Oh,
or something
yeah.
like that. Hypa came out. And I'm like, yo, what are you doing? You got to make a video on this. Like, let's go right now. And then she made a video, and it got like 48,000 views in the first day or something.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, and I remember you kept telling me, you kept coming to me and be like, it's terrifying. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is terrifying? She's like, 48,000 eyeballs just saw what I look like. I'm like,
I was just about to say that now. Like, it was terrifying because in all the other videos, like, it's not just me. Even if people will comment like, "Oh, Lindsay sucks" or whatever, but like, it's not just me in the video. It's not just me on my own with like, usually when it's you and me, we banter and we feed off of each other. But like that is just like me by myself with my own research and like coming up with something from scratch. And it was really scary at first, thinking like, "Oh my God, all those people, there's gonna be like horrible things in the comments or something." But I don't even know. It doesn't even matter if there is, honestly. But at first, it was like very nerve-wracking, thinking like just me, that many people looking at it. Whoa.
And I mean, yeah, and I mean, I have, we hit 217,000 subscribers as of today, and over the last 8 years, and that amount of people engaging with the channel, there's definitely a dark side of YouTube, and you've been exposed to it. And I think that's what caused a lot of that anxiety, was the fact that you've seen what I've had to go through at times with how toxic people can be on the internet. And that it's a scary thing. It's a skill set. Managing it's a skill set onto itself that you have to develop alongside of all the other hats you have to wear. But we can talk about that later. But the point of this is, I'm just kind of recapping how we came to the fact that you actually create your own channel, and Hypa exploded, and then that was it. That was the moment that you were like, all right, we're doing this We're doing it legit. It's going
Yeah.
up.
Actually, I think Hyper was the first video that I watched of Lindsay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
very interesting.
you were very excited over the hypa.
Oh man, I bought props, I bought a wig.
I know.
Oh man, but it still didn't look as I imagined it. I wanted a blonde wig, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I was so well because first off, I fucking love the 80s culture and all the neon stuff. And especially here in Bulgaria, it's this kind of haircuts is still pretty well. Nobody's wearing a mullet anymore, but hopefully. But it's been around here for quite some time, and it's sort of something like a national joke, and yeah.
Gotcha.
So the first moment that I saw the mullets, and I was like instantly hooked, and it was just such a great video, with all the bad green screen footage and
Yep.
their facial expressions and everything, and the mustache, and
Oh,
I
I
was just
know.
like, oh my fucking god, this is the best video of 2020. and I was running around for like the whole weekend, just going to prop stores and party stores, looking for a wig, for a gold chain, and the most ridiculous stuff that I could find. And yeah, it was awesome, and it was awesome watching your video because your take was more serious. It was not in the spirit of the whole video and the whole song. And it was interesting because it was a different take from a different angle.
Right.
And what I wanted to say like 10 minutes ago was like, you have the perfect opportunity to becoming something pretty big in YouTube because of a handful of reasons. First, all the best channels, and Wyatt knows that, all the best channels and with most viewers and best content are channels which are providing information that's actually useful or that's actually interesting, not just watching some dude or girl react to something. Not that reactions are bad, we're all doing it, but you're providing knowledge, and this is always, it's always been and always will be the most valuable thing. And second off, you've got the skills, you've got Wyatt's mentorship for stuff that you still don't know or don't know how to do. And lastly, you have an unfair advantage over all of us because you're a girl.
Yes, that is true. I can acknowledge that.
Yeah
100%, dude. You get like 100% EXP boost if you have
Absolutely.
titties and you're in content creation.
Infinite.
Yeah, like 1,000% EXP boost. Like you level up way quicker than anybody else.
Absolutely, yeah. Just because you're a girl, you're pretty.
Just
game
because
over.
of that. Yeah, 100%.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and a lot of girls are figuring that out, especially on Twitch. My goodness.
Yeah, on Twitch especially. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so normal in Twitch and stuff to see just a random average gamer girl with huge cleavage, but once I'm wearing that, I gotta stop. It's so unfair.
That is unfair. You're right.
Yeah, it is. It's so unfair, especially when you put the mullet wig on. My goodness.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right, so let's talk about.
Actually,
Yep.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Well, I was thinking of, because we're doing these podcasts mainly for content creators and for, well, actually we never said that, but I guess that the majority of people who are listening to us are hoping for some knowledge and tips and tricks for what we do and this side of things. So I was thinking of maybe, if Lindsay, if you could tell us and the people that are listening to us, let's say we're all content creators, we're all musicians, how important really is your clothing in front of a camera? Because I think that a lot of people are undermining that, and actually not undermining, but under considering that. So how important it is, and how, especially in the metal scene, how can we stand out more without looking ridiculous?
Oh, I love this question. I think this is something that's definitely not talked about a lot. So let's go. Let's hear it.
So I think that for every person in every situation, basically in life, it's important to consider the way that your outward appearance looks, because whether we want to admit it or not, that's the first thing that everybody judges you on. Like in the first like millisecond of you meeting someone, you look at their appearance, you look at what they're wearing, their hair, their whatever, their facial expressions, and you just internalize it. Whether you consciously think about it or not, it's there. You've internalized it, and you've sort of made your own preconceived notions based on what they look like. So I think it's important to always sort of put like your best foot forward, and you don't have to be revolutionary. You don't have to look like you've stepped off a runway every single day. Like that's just unrealistic for a lot of people. But I think it is important to at least think about it, and consider it. And like maybe before you go on camera, like look at how what you're wearing looks on camera. Think about like, is what I'm wearing saying something about myself that I want others to hear? So like, if you're gonna wear ripped jeans, are you wearing ripped jeans because they're like punk and that's what you're going for? Or are you wearing ripped jeans because you accidentally ripped them and you don't care to put on something better? Like, just think about it, and like, you don't have to put a ton of pressure on yourself to be like absolutely best dressed ever. But definitely think about it. And in the metal scene too, like, I think it's okay to just look regular, just look like an everyday person and still be in the metal scene and talk about it, as long as you don't come across fake and you actually do know what you're talking about and you're authentic and you do genuinely like that music and feel as though you're a part of this sort of like culture. Then it's okay if you don't necessarily look like everybody else does. But if you do want to sort of be someone in Wyatt's position where he's performing and no one's hearing him talk, and he's playing along to like metal and stuff like you as well, Dimitar, then I think it's cool to sort of follow along with like regular metal punk fashion. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
This is something that comes up a lot in my master's sessions with my students. And I'm going to take it a step further from clothing, because I don't really know much about clothing, but I will talk about appearance as a whole, because it's something that I've thought about throughout my career. And when I first started heading towards music in high school, I was very blessed to have an incredible mentor at the time, whose name was Craig Hunter, and he was the drummer of the Philosopher Kings, which was a world-touring stadium rock band from the 70s and 80s. They've won Junos, all kinds of crazy credentials behind the guy. But one of the things he stressed with me every day we spoke, and we spoke every day, well, one of the things we talk about a lot is this quote-unquote complete package. And the complete package in content creation or music or whatever it is that you are doing, the complete package is all encompassing. It's everything from your logo to the way you look, to the way you talk, to the way you carry yourself, to if you have a car because you need to get to band practice, to if you have the money to be able to take time off to go on the road, to being prepared with the proper cases so you can transport equipment, to every little tiny detail. The minimal amount of friction between you and your dream is the only way you're going to get there. And including all of those things that reduce the friction inside of the complete package is the only way you're ever going to make it in whatever field you're trying to get into. So I start my students when I'm talking about image with that little mini rant. And the reason why is because a lot of guys don't get how important the image is. And here's the example that I give them. If I'm a stockbroker on Wall Street and I'm going to work and I show up to, wherever they do the stuff with the numbers or whatever the fuck. And I show up to my job, or a lawyer or whatever, a courtroom, right? And I show up to my job and my pants aren't freshly pressed.
Mm-hmm.
My jacket isn't clean and fitting. My suit and my tie isn't done properly. My shoes aren't shined and fitting properly. My hair isn't combed back. My face isn't freshly shaved. Well, there is going to be an issue. There's going to be people who start to draw early conclusions right away. And those early conclusions will get cast down at like a ripple effect through the people involved with whatever this task is. And that has a detriment to the outcome of your career in the end, as a lawyer, as whatever. So when I talk to people and they go, why did you stretch your ears open to 2 inches? Why did you pierced your face? Why do you got hand tattoos? Like all these things, people hit me up and go, well, clearly good thing you've worked this out because you weren't getting a real job with all that. It's like, you're right. I wasn't getting a real job. I was getting this job. And in order to get this job, I'm going to show up in my suit and tie. And my suit and tie means my clothes. in the metal scene with the tattoos and the piercings and the long hair and all the things and the proper footwear, all the things that go along with the image and the brand that I am embodying so that I can do this full time for the rest of my life. So I show up every day for my job. What is your job? You have to think about that.
Absolutely.
And that's so, so important with whatever level of content creation you're at and whatever you're going into. And the dress, the being well dressed is just another extension of that. And it's an extension that in the last year I've thought about in ways that I never did, simply because having Lindsay in my life and also watching her going through the process of creating these videos. She talks about things now that I'm like, holy shit, I never even thought about that. You know, like half the stuff I thought these guys were wearing just kind of came together.
Right.
You know, they woke up the morning of the video shoot and it was like, I got this jacket, fuck it, we'll throw that on. And then like didn't really think about it. But when you break down these artists in the way that you do, it's the ultimate example of showing up for your work.
Yeah.
Because it's specific to the piece of art at hand. That's the really beautiful part about it. It's not just an extension of your brand, but in the moment, in an example of a music video, if you're wearing a certain garment, well, likelihood, if you have your shit together and you know what you're doing as an artist, that garment is in that video because it's speaking to the mental state, the emotional state of what the video is trying to communicate.
Absolutely.
And that is a piece of the artwork, and it's a piece of that complete package.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, and I can even add a little bit more to that because I've talked with guys about this, and it's kind of strange because my story with clothing and history is kind of an odd one because, well, in high school I was the general metal kid, you know, with the Slipknot T-shirt and camo shorts and all the possible spikes on my wrists and whatever. So then, you know, I outgrew that, and then came the era of the suits, and I was so madly in love with suits. And it was, looking back now, probably...
Icy Stars would have been very proud.
Yeah, I probably look pretty ridiculous because imagine a 20-year-old, you know, broke as fuck, but wearing suits. And not
I mean,
being
they
a
all
lawyer.
were, dude. They all were. That was like, you go on the road and you have your tour outfit that you wear every night, and like there was so many bands that were repping that, like Crown the Empire, Capture the Crown,
Yeah.
Icy Stars, the list went on
early
and on.
upon a burning body and so on.
Ice Nine Kills, so many of them were rocking that look.
And I was so in love with that. I mean, I learned every little detail. How long should your pants be? How much should it cuff on your shoe? Why you should not mix your tie with your napkin, whatever, everything.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And you know, mixing patterns, colors, color wheel, whatever. So and then the YouTube thing came, and in the most natural possible way, I started gradually going towards, you know, as Wyatt said, the rock star image, you know, having I don't know if it's pronounced right, plaid shirts, you know, with
Plaid.
Okay, plaid shirts, and the skinny jeans, and you know, the leather boots and stuff like that.
Yeah, and ribs and chains.
Yeah, exactly. And going black, and pretty much right now my wardrobe is monochrome, black, gray, and white, nothing else. So yeah, and actually being again in comfortable clothes, doing what I do, because you know, playing with a suit, I've tried it sucks. It's success. Yeah. So being in comfortable clothes again, and you know, looking this way is actually I think I found myself in that. And I've always talked about that with guys, and I'm saying, doesn't matter how you're clothing yourself, if you're a you know, rock image, rap image, whatever, you need to first be dapper, or I don't know if that's the right word, but be tidy. If you're, doesn't matter if you're wearing distressed clothes or ripped clothes, first they must be clean. Please wear clean clothes. And you know, if you're going to have a beard, let that beard be trimmed, let that beard be cared for. Don't be just a walking bush. And it's always hilarious when somebody says, you know, but this is the rock star image. This sweater is distressed. No, it's not. You're wearing it for a second week in a row, and it's not distressed. You're just dirty. So yeah, you need to, whatever you're doing. In my opinion, you need to consider that, and having attention to details is also very important, because when I was watching your video about Oli Sykes, and this is what actually made a lot of impression to me, because in a like 2 seconds shot from the video, you notice so much things. You know, you notice his sleeves, you notice his pants, his print on the shirt, and that's 2 seconds. You know, for 2 seconds I can't even focus on his face, and this just reminded me how every ring, every piece of cloth, every little thing, you know, if it's makeup or haircut, whatever it is, it makes a difference. Because if somebody pauses your video at any given moment where you're visible and they start cherry picking your outfit, you should be absolutely flawless.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And actually, the attention to details thing is something that I bring up a lot in my videos, because like that's what makes a good outfit. Isn't just choosing a good top and a good bottom. It's having every last little detail in place so that it makes one complete whole that is perfect. So like even like what socks are you wearing? Are the socks that you're wearing, do they make sense with your shoes? Like should you be wearing a different color of sock? Are they too high? Are they too short? Like are they not looking right with whatever it is you're wearing? Are your pants tucked in? Are they not tucked in? Like what finger do you have a ring on? Like what kind of eyeshadow are you wearing? Like every last little bit, you know, like I did a Youngblood video and he had on one of his jackets. It was supposed to be like a Mad Max sort of like post-apocalyptic thing. He had taken bolts, like regular just bolts that you use in construction, and safety pinned them to his jacket just to add to this whole sort of post-apocalyptic vibe. And it's just like those little tiny little baby things, once you put them all together into one outfit, then whether you know about fashion or not, you can look at it and know that it's good and know that it works and just appreciate it as a whole without having to like necessarily cherry pick it. You just know that it works because every last little thing has been accounted for and you get the full complete picture at the end.
I feel like that what you finished off with there is the difference between a professional artist and a consumer, is that a professional artist can identify the pieces and can construct it well, whereas a consumer can only identify it through a feeling.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
subconsciously.
And it's not just in fashion, it's in any facet of art. It's in film, it's in the videos that we create. You know, a video that we create for our channel doesn't come together until you can zoom out and you see 10 layers and thousands of little adjustment layers here and pieces there and transitions.
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
That's what creates like just the A cut or the B cut is not enough. You know, it's all of those other little tiny attention to detail pieces that you stack on layer, stack on layer, stack on layer until the end product becomes this thing that is, you know, has prosody, is all one piece. And you can see that everywhere. You know, in music, it's the same thing. There's so many things going on inside of a mix that no one will listen to except for the vocals. But if they weren't there, it would not be the same song.
You would just know that there's something off about it. You just know it's not quite right. You just, for whatever reason, you just know that it's not perfect. Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's how I feel about outfits.
So let's talk about the state of fashion today in our music.
Today in our music?
Yeah. Because Dimitar talked about the suit era.
Yeah.
And then that kind of moved into, like, what is it now? What are people wearing in punk and metal and hardcore scenes? And if not that, it just in like, I don't know.
I feel right now like we're just sort of in this era that things are a little bit plain. People are wearing a lot of just jackets with skinny jeans. I'm seeing a lot of like button down printed shirts here and there. Also just regular t-shirts. There's the inspiration from what do you call it? Like the sort of health goth style, you could call it.
Yeah.
Where people were wearing athletic wear, but not necessarily to work out. Like they're wearing like a Nike windbreaker, for example, but with jeans. Or they're wearing, you know, like just really nice running shoes, but with jeans. You know, just sort of like the mixing of that sort of health goth. There's a better word for it. It's like escaping me right now. Like Athleisure. It's athleisure. So this whole athleisure movement exploded, particularly in women's wear, where everyone was wearing leggings as pants and whatever, and workout wear is now
Thank
acceptable
God.
for everyday wear. Yeah, Dimitar. And that definitely bled into the metal scene because I see a lot of windbreakers. I see a lot of running shoes, a lot of Nike swooshes. So that's what I would say. It's either like the jeans with t-shirts, button-downs, and leather jackets, or it's sort of like the athleisure inspiration happening.
Yeah.
That's where I think things are at.
Yeah, the athleisure thing is like, that's a different one because it's like you see, that's big and hardcore. You know,
Yes,
like there's
yes.
this whole like 3-4 year period, and it's still kind of going on, but not as much. Where I would go to shows and like half the kids in the audience would be wearing leggings with shorts over top. Of it.
Yeah, that was big.
And that was crazy. Like that came out of nowhere. And like it used to be Converse and Vans.
Yep.
Now it's like Yeezys and NMDs. Is that it?
Yep.
NMDs?
The Adidas ones?
Yeah, that's what they're called. Yeah. Or EQTs, right?
Yep.
Yeah, when you see
These big
sweatpants,
sneakers.
when you see sweatpants in the crowd, you better watch out because this
Oh,
guy, this guy is about to throw down some shit, and he wants to
Yep.
be comfortable doing it.
He's got a lot of range of movement.
Yeah, he's not looking to rip any jeans, bro.
Yeah.
You watch the fuck out for those spin kicks.
Who do you think in our genre, metalcore, deathcore, or even gent, you know, this kind of stuff? Would you say, would you name a couple of bands or artists that you think are probably the biggest influences about clothing and fashion and
For the rest of us, that's a good
for the
point.
rest of us? Yeah.
Yeah, because an example of that was Asking for a while. Like back in the 2010 days, a lot of bands tried to rip off Asking, you know. And then Motionless in White had a whole subculture of bands trying to rip them off, especially with the face paint and everything that they were doing. So what is it today? Who's kind of passing down the trends in the alt scenes?
I don't know. I think like the way that I look at it, like Ollie Sykes is kind of on the top. He's sort of like the high fashion version of what's happening right now, where he's like everything pushed to like the max level, like the farthest degree of like creativity and everything, and then everything kind of trickles down from him, which is actually like a whole actually all-encompassing fashion theory for the overall fashion industry as a whole, where all those runway shows that you see where things are very avant-garde and crazy, and you know Rick Owens has a person on another person as clothes, and everyone's like, why does this exist? Like what is the point of this? And the point of it is to start there at like the farthest maxed out level of creativity and then trickle it down and take little elements from that thing. So that's kind of in this scene how I see Oliver Sykes sort of like at the top, and then things trickle down from him. But
I just want to bring up something to do with Oliver real quick. Did you see, I don't know, I know you and I don't go on Instagram very often, but did you see the Instagram post he made like 2 days ago, or might have been yesterday?
maybe?
It was him. He posted 5 photos, and the photos were all from the same shoot, and it was a yellow backdrop, and he had face paint on, and he was standing there in the only way I can describe it with my illiteracy in the subject would be like a grandma sweater, like a very like,
Yeah.
you know, when you can see the individual threads and they're thick and big.
Yeah, like
That
a knitted
kinda-
chunky sweater.
Yeah, a knitted chunky sweater. He had that on. Then he had a full length waist to ankle skirt with like
Oh.
with a print on it.
Oh yeah, I'm watching that right now.
Yeah.
what? Oh, I
and he
better
was
check it
wearing
out.
and he was wearing Doc Martens on the bottom, or some kind of big combat boot
Yeah.
on the bottom. And I saw it, I was like, yeah. Avant-garde. Trickle down. You know, like
Yeah.
I was like, whoa,
that's-
pull it up real quick. Just type
Sure.
it type in, you got your phone there, or can you just go on Instagram on your computer?
I've got my phone.
Let's talk about this. I'd love to see your
Actually,
opinion
on the third photo where he's in full height, I think that's pretty much, and I don't want to insult him in any way, but pretty much this is the Eastern European grandmother outfit.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I just pulled it up. I could see how that would be grandmother outfit. Yeah, that skirt kind of looks like it's a curtain, right?
Or
yeah, that's
tablecloth.
Really interesting. Yeah, or like a tablecloth or something. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think the proportions work for him. I don't know. It's definitely interesting. It's not your everyday sort of outfit.
No,
Yeah.
not on a guy
Yeah, that's
in his
true.
position.
Yeah.
You know,
Who's
like,
not in
arguably-
Scotland.
Yeah.
Yep.
Arguably like the king of
That's true.
rock and roll today. You know? Like really, that's what I mean. Bring Me the Horizon's a household name through Europe. I mean, and North America has terrible music taste, but through the rest of the world, Bring Me the Horizon's a big fucking deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they are.
And what they do, what he decides to do, that. So yeah, is there any bands underneath him that you can think of directly?
I think that Ronnie Radke's influential to a lot of people because he dresses in a more realistic sort of more down to earth way than Oliver Sykes does. Like, where he's like, I don't know. Like, people always ask me to make videos about him. He's not like exceptionally fashionable, but he does wear things that are cool, and I can see how a lot of people would take inspiration from what he's doing because it's a lot more manageable and a lot more digestible and easy to execute. So I think that he is influential for a lot of people as well. And then I don't know, no one else is really coming to mind that stands out. I'd probably have to like take a second, think about it.
I got a rather pleb question for you.
Okay.
So and it's pretty general. It's not only to metal scene and stuff. Is fashionable the same as well dressed? And when are the times where fashionable? Like you said for Ronnie Radke that he's he's not pretty fashionable. He's just wearing stuff that works.
Mm-hmm.
So could you tell me and us what's the difference between fashionable and just well dressed?
I think like I don't always use fashionable this way, but I think fashionable sort of means more along the lines of what is commonly accepted to be fashionable at that time in history. Like what is currently fashionable is like what's in the magazines, what's on the runways, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Versus well dressed, you can be any style. You could be, sort of trying to dress in an 80s outfit and be super well dressed for what you're trying to accomplish, which is looking like you're in the 80s. So that's kind of the difference, I guess. Fashionable more refers to like what's happening right now.
And how does it? I mean, obviously you're a professional in this field, but people like me, and I don't know for Wyatt, but I guess he's closer to me than he is to you in this sense.
Oh hell yeah, dude! I don't have a clue.
For people like us who don't have a clue, explain to us what's it like. How do you decide when you want to be more fashion forward in your outfit and wear something that's not so recognizable amongst normal people? So how do you decide that? Is it just a feeling? Do you just know this by instinct? Is it just because of all the experience you have?
I think when I look at things, when I look at outfits that people are wearing, because it's something that I always consciously pay attention to, just always for years on end. Like that's what I look at when I look at people. I think that I just sort of get an overall feeling about whether these things work. But if you're like you or Wyatt and you just want to sort of push your personal style a little bit further, the best thing to do is find people whose style you admire and then think about how you can adapt that into your own life and make it work for you. And then also just really consider, let's say you see like Ronnie Radke or Ollie Sykes, they're wearing a certain type of shirt and you're like, oh, I really like that. I wonder if that'll work for me. The only way to know is to get the shirt and put it on yourself and see if you have pieces that go with it and see if you even like it on yourself. And maybe you will and maybe you won't. And you just kind of have to play around with it and experiment and try things on. But the way to start is just by finding something that you're naturally drawn to, whether you know why or not. If you see it and you like it, then sort of start there. Like create a Pinterest board. I actually, Wyatt's friend, our friend really, Matthew Runaway, you've had him on the podcast before. He hit me up recently to ask like, how do I change my style? How do I stand out in country music? And I said, the way to stand out is to not dress how other people dress. And then what direction you want to take is up to you. And I told him the same thing. You have to go and look. Go look at runway shows. Go look at high-end websites. Go look at Pinterest. Just look around until you find something that speaks to you. And you look at it and you just, for one reason or another, you just really like it and just start there.
Okay, I have a question off of that. When I was 13 years old, I was in grade 9 or grade 8 or whatever, and I bought my first pair of Vans, the slip-ons. The checkered ones.
I do.
I bought my first pair of Vans.
Oh, that's a deadcore shoes.
Yeah. So I bought my first pair. Well, by I mean my mom at the time. Went to the mall with me and we bought my first pair for back to school. And I wanted so badly, I wanted the gray and black checkers. But all we could find was the classics in my size. And the classics are the white and black checkers with the white sole. And I remember I bought them and I wore them like 3 times. And then I took them off and I didn't wear them for a really long time. The reason why I wanted to wear these was because in the Before I Forget music video, there's a point where Corey Taylor got paid $1 billion to wear Vans. But outside of that, I saw him wearing those Vans. And I was like, oh, Corey Taylor's got those on. And I know that they sell those at Boathouse down at the mall. We're going to go and get those for back to school. Okay.
Yeah.
So I picked them up. And out of my peripheral vision as I was walking around, I could see white shoes down there. Like these white, intense shoes. And for me at the time, I mean, now, you know me, I've owned like 100 pairs. Now it's no big deal. But at the time, that was the first time where I ever had a white shoe on. And that was too much for me. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I took them off and I didn't wear them for a long time until I finally came back and I just said to myself, okay, I want this to be part of my personal style. Well, I didn't say that. I didn't consciously know that, but you know what I mean? Essentially, looking back on it, that was just the thought process. And I forced myself to wear them, and then after a couple weeks, I totally got used to it, and it was like, I never thought of it again. So if you're somebody who is in that position where they see somebody like Corey Taylor, or they see somebody like Oliver Sykes or Lady Gaga do something, maybe not, like that's a small example, but let's talk a little bit bigger. Let's say like maybe it's wear a dress or something, right? Like an example for me is I know a lot of guys aren't comfortable dressing like me because I like the look of the long baggy clothes with the skin tight leggings and short shorts over top of that. And like a lot of guys will not do that. It's denim jeans or nothing else.
Yeah.
So if you come across somebody who is expressing themselves in a way that you think, oh wow, I could really see myself in that, but then you try it and you just can't. How do you force yourself, or do you? Like, how do you go about warming yourself up to something that maybe you do want to, but you're too nervous to embark on? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's a really good question. I'm not sure that I have like a concrete, like, this is the way.
Okay, better yet, have you, first answer me, have you ever had that yourself?
Yeah, oh my God, 100 times, because I think about this a lot, and sometimes I'll see stuff on a guy or a girl, and I'll think, oh my gosh, I need to do this, like, I'm just going to try this thing. And sometimes, I don't know, I feel like I make up my mind really quickly and like I can just wear that item, let's say, that I'm unsure about a couple of times and just sort of decide for good whether this is like meant to be or not. But if you're really on the fence about something, then just wear it around your house, wear it around your girlfriend or boyfriend and see what they think. I mean, you don't necessarily have to listen to them, but wear it around, look in the mirror, like really give yourself time to ruminate and sit in it and think about it. Like you with your Vans, you just kind of pushed through and then you just got used to it, but like, I think you also do know deep down if you put something on, if it's immediately wrong. And in which case, don't force it past that. Like if you have your guts telling you like, you know what, this doesn't work for me, then don't do it.
Well, I kind of had my guts telling me that with those shoes.
That deeply?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know then.
Yeah. I was embarrassed.
Oh.
Like I could see out of my peripherals that my feet were white and I never owned a light colored shoe. Like up until that point, it was all black on black skate shoes, like DC skate shoes.
I mean, consider the fact, too, that you were young at the time, and young kids are very sensitive to, like...
That's true. There's a lot of research
how they look, and they're very worried about it a lot of the time. So maybe now, like, you wouldn't feel so deeply about something like that, and you would be more along the lines of me, where you just know, or you just, nah, it's not going to work. Kids are, they worry a lot about that kind of stuff. So that also probably could have affected that whole scenario.
Dude, that Before I Forget video is the reason why I bought my first pair of Adidas. Because Joey Jordison was wearing Adidas, the classics, which are black with white soles and just the 3 white stripes.
Yeah, the gazelles.
Yeah.
Yes, the gazelles, that's right.
And from that point, which was like, I don't know, 10 years ago, I've always bought these shoes. And actually right now I have a brand new pair at home. Because ever since this video was, ever since I saw it, and, I became a drummer because of Joey Jordison exclusively. And to this day, I still have these type of shoes. And it seems this video is being a cornerstone for a lot of us.
Yeah.
There's going back to Mr. Hunter, Craig Hunter, the guy that I talked about, that early mentor. We had a lot of conversations, and he set me up with so much unbelievable knowledge to break me into the music industry and me to avoid a lot of potholes. And one of the things he talked about was that he had closets and closets and closets full of shoes. And I was like, why? And he's like, well, when you're an artist and you're on stage, most people are at eye level with your shoes. So you get more shoe endorsements than you do music endorsements a lot of the time back then.
Right.
Yeah. And he said that it was like every company was throwing shoes at them, trying to get their shoes on the lead singers, the lead guitarists' feet. Because when you're stomping on stage and you're up on the riser, that's like the focal point is you can see the shoes clear as day. It's right. The first 5-6 rows, that's all they're staring at. And the first 5-6 rows are going to be the ones that are most influenced by those artists because they're the ones that actually spent the time trying to get up there or took the time to show up early to get up there. And those are the ones who are going to endure all that position in a show has to bring in order to get as close as possible to the people that they love and adore. Because I don't know about you guys, but if I don't really care about the band, I'm in the back.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I feel that I'm in the back regardless if I care, just because I don't want to bump into some sweaty dudes.
Pussy.
Yes, I know. It's not the worst feeling in the world when you get smacked up against a sweaty dude.
Yeah.
I played football for 7 years. You fucking pussy.
Oh man.
Yo, guys.
Let me tell you, if Architects is on that stage, I'm in that front row. Barricade.
Yeah, you are. That's true.
I don't care how wet I gotta get.
Fighting
Or
tooth and
sick.
nail.
Tooth and nail, that's
Yeah.
right. I'll lay on the couch with a high fever for the next 4 days after the show. I don't give a damn.
So true.
Yeah. Do you guys have here in Bulgaria? It's pretty common. It's actually frightening common for people who are lazy and don't give a shit about outfits at all. They're just wearing sweatpants and sweatshirts, or sweatpants and.
Dude, I'm sitting on my couch in sweatpants and a t-shirt right now.
But you're at home. You're at home, brother.
Yeah,
fair.
at home is
That's
definitely
fair.
different.
That's all I live in now since COVID.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm talking about, cafes and malls and parks everywhere.
Yeah,
And-
we
and-
got those. All the girls got juicy
Yeah.
across the butt.
You know what? I feel as though that's sort of like a huge thing in North America, and that people in other parts of the world aren't so lazy when they're out and about. And like sort of like people in North America are a lot more lax about it. And they'll
Yeah.
just wear like leggings and like some crappy hoodie. But like in Europe or in Asia, when you're going out, you're not so like chill about it. You care a little bit more, put a little bit more effort in.
Oh, and he's saying that he has that in Bulgaria.
I know, yeah. I don't know
we
about
do,
like
yeah.
every country, but
Yeah.
in a lot of places it's more the standard that you look a little bit better when you leave your house. So
Yeah, where our standards here,
pretty
like,
low.
when the athletic stuff came in, it was like you can dress it up. You can totally dress up that
Yeah.
stuff. And there's a lot of it, especially the girl stuff. Oh my God. Some of the girl stuff that Adidas has been putting out is just like mind blowing pieces. You know, like they're not anything you would ever actually work out in, but they definitely fit into that athleisure section. But they're like, they can be super extravagant. Some of the sports bras and some of the like the windbreakers that you were talking about, even that one Reebok, is it Reebok? The windbreaker you
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
That thing is gorgeous. And, I can't remember where I was going with this. Oh yeah, when that came in, it's like it gave, because of how comfortable the clothing was, it's like it gave a lot of people permission to just dress like slobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I'm saying people going with sweatpants and hoodies, I don't mean athletic people.
Oh,
Right.
I don't mean
Oh, God.
athletes. I mean people who haven't worked out in about 20 years.
Yeah, I feel
or at
And
all.
there
my
there are
God.
some extreme cases where you see some dude with some random sweatpants and black dress shoes,
Oh my God.
and I'm like,
no.
why?
Dude, the worst here is the people with sweatpants in Walmart. Or not sweatpants, sorry, pajama pants in Walmart.
Oh yeah.
Pajama pants. I'm like, come on, man.
Oh yeah, and
Come
you see it
on.
all the time. Oh, you know what? To be straight up, 100% been me a million times.
Really? Yeah, it has.
Dude, when I
Confess.
when I was in Down and Dirty back in 2016, I lived in half the year I lived in a studio in Detroit, and right across the street from where we were staying, the house we were in, there was a Kroger grocery store. And I would get up with my big, like, baggy flannel plaid pajama pants and a black T-shirt and walk over there and get a coffee every single morning. Like, I was in there every day in pajama pants. I didn't care. Yeah. I was recording, whatever.
Yeah, I can't get myself to wear pajama pants or sweatpants if I'm not working out. I mean, I can't even go to the store. I mean, I feel like everybody's watching me. It's
Yeah, I do feel like that as well.
I don't.
No, you don't care.
I have like zero shits to give when it comes to that stuff. I think it's just because like, I don't know. I put a lot. I think part of it's because I put so much effort into dressing up when I do that I know what I'm capable of. So I'm not going to be worried about if some 65-year-old woman at line at the fucking supermarket sees that I'm wearing sweatpants today. And because my going out outfit right now, and it's been this for a while, is a t-shirt, sweatpants, and Adidas slides. That's like
like going out to run errands outfit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like that's what I basically live in. Unless we're going out to a bar or something and all that's closed.
Yeah.
I'm in that outfit.
Yeah, that's true. You are.
Yeah. When we go out to dinner and stuff, I try a little bit harder.
You're the couch warrior.
But not by much. Dude, 100%, bro. 100%. Yeah. And I wish I had better style. You know what a big part of it is for me, I think? Big part of it for me is I see a lot of these pieces that I would really, really, really love to own. But I have a bougie ass taste. And I just think to myself, like, okay, $1,000 for a jacket, it's not feasible now, but one day. So I have this thing in the back of my head where, okay, one day down the line, when my career's really taken off, I'm going to dress really fashionable. But until then, I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm like literally, you know me, that's that's such a Wyatt thing to say. Because I'm always 0 or 100. And like right now with fashion, I'm 0, but I have in the back of my head that I'll be able to afford what I want later. So I'll be 100 then. That's what I think.
Dude, this is okay. This like I need to make a PSA because this is like such a common misconception where everyone thinks like they'll
I know what you're about
comment.
to say.
Oh my gosh, they'll comment on my videos and be like, "Well, how much money does it take to dress like him?" And I'll be like, "If you're clever and creative, not that much. Like you don't need money to dress well. Like thrift stores exist and like." Other things like you can just acquire clothes in other random places or random ways and change them. Like you don't have to buy something and keep it the way it is. Like if you want an Ollie Sykes jacket, go to Salvation Army and get a random jacket and get a bunch of t-shirts and cut the print off the t-shirt and get your grandma to sew it onto your jacket and boom, there you go. Like it's not impossible to achieve. Like if you don't have money, you have to put in a little bit more work and a little bit more effort and get a little creative with it and maybe, find local people who can help you a bit. But like I don't know. Money's just like a shortcut, I guess. It's a shortcut, but you don't need it. That's what I think.
I know this. I know this to be true, but I need the most amount of shortcut. Like if you're at home and you're listening to this episode and you've listened through all of them, we talk a lot about scheduling on this, and we talk about time management and all those kinds of things. And like I feel like I'm just now coming out of this point in my life where I was in a black fucking cave grinding, and that was it. And the thought of trying to like do anything that you just said, that was like that'd be the tipping point on the camel's back that just collapsed.
Final straw.
Like Dimitar right now, he has COVID and he's doing podcasts. Like,
I know.
This motherfucker, he knows exactly what I'm talking
Absolutely,
about.
yeah.
So like 3-4 years down the line, when I have like way more free time, totally. But if I'm doing 5 podcasts a week, putting out 4 videos, streaming 5 days a week, practicing drums, learning guitar, and then doing all the rest of the shit that I got to do just around the fucking house, I don't got time to be sewing nothing to nothing.
I know. But okay, let's say you're in a band and you're about to go on tour and you want to have
a different story.
Good stage clothes. Or like if you have a good reason to invest the time.
We used to do that.
Yeah. Oh,
we
did
used
you?
To do that. Yeah, for sure.
That's great.
And I always worked retail too. So I remember one year when I was in Aspire, we went and I had the now H&M's not, I don't condone shopping there, but I worked there for a while, and they give you discount cards, and we would go out like downtown Toronto, all of us, me, Jordan, Matt, and we would go and we would shop like Eaton Center, and we would go to all the spots, even the thrift stores that you've taken me to, and we would figure out what we're going to be going on the road with, and then we would designate it, because one thing about going on the road is like you have to know what your stage clothes are and what your regular clothes are, and you have to be very careful to not fuck shit up, because laundry only comes around once in a while, but you're gonna get sweaty every single night.
Yeah.
So like dealing with that, there's like a management system every band has to put into place as to how they're gonna deal with like the dirty laundry and all that kind of stuff.
Just wear the shirt upside down.
Yeah, there you go. Turn your underwear inside out.
Oh, Lord.
Inside out, yeah, not upside
Front
down.
to back to front.
Yeah. Oh Lord.
I was talking about that specifically, that point you just made in a video today, talking about Maria Brink from in this moment. She has really crazy intense stage costumes, and most of them, honestly, you can't even wash them. They have to be like dry cleaned. So I was saying how if she always wears this one specific outfit when they perform a certain song, and she performs that song every night, she has to have like 10 copies of that outfit, because there's no way that she could have it dry cleaned in 12 hours and like
Lindsay,
while driving to meetings,
as a touring artist, I can tell you just smell like shit.
Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe where you're at, but her, I don't know, because they're like a whatever bigger band, and she's a girl, and etc. I don't know for sure, but it's something to consider.
I would say she throws it on right before she goes on stage, gets it dirty and sweaty, takes it off right after stage. They maybe spray it down with something
And sells it on
and
eBay.
then put it back in the and then- yeah, maybe that. And then they put it back in the wardrobe ATA case. And then they roll to the next venue. I imagine she might have a couple, but I bet a lot of the time it's just going. Shit just reeks.
I read in an article from a few years back now, so I don't know if this is still relevant for her, but she used to just go on tour with like 100 different dresses and just wear a different one every night.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know anymore because, like I said, she has costumes that go with songs.
Yeah.
Like they pair together. So maybe it is what you said. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hypothesizing.
No, if she can afford to do the likes of that back in the day, then she can definitely afford to get multiple of the costumes.
duplicates, yeah.
I just like that statement. You know, it's a band with huge production and, you know, so much thought process. And then what? She just reeks.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm like, that, really?
Yeah, that's right.
They just spray with Febreze.
Yeah, she just reeks.
They just spray it down, put it back in the wardrobe. We had that. We had an ATA case with guitars, and half of it had a pole that we would hang the clothes on that we'd wear on stage.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was a guitar cab or a guitar case. Upright guitar ATA. I don't know what the guitar closet. That's what it would be. But half of it was a legit closet. We converted it.
And
We'd have
it
all our
smelled
guitars
like
on one side.
a men's locker room.
Oh, it smelled way worse than a man's locker room, bro. I'm talking weeks at a time here.
Oh
man.
shit.
So
So
I'm playing. There was more. There was laundry every third or fourth night.
I got another question for Lindsay. So what do you think would be which rules, you know, general rules of clothing, which hopefully most of us know, could be broken or bent, like matching your medals, matching your letters, when it's safe to break a rule, and how do we know?
Oh, so subjective. Pretty much any rule can be broken, honestly. Let me try to think of like a common one, like a denim on denim, for example. That can be done so bad that can go super wrong, or it can go really right. It just it has to be the right denim with the right denim. So I would say pretty much any rule can be broken as long as you're doing it in a right way, and you kind of have to get a sense for whether it's okay or not. I guess you have to kind of have an eye for it.
And in that train of thought, do you think that it matters who's breaking the rule? I mean, how famous he is and stuff like that? Because it's one thing if Oli Sykes, you know, wears, I don't know, denim that matches. And, you know, he'll be labeled as extravagant or, you know, fashion forward, whatever. But if I do it or if Wyatt does it, we'll just be seen as, you know, idiots who don't know jack shit about clothing.
I mean, I think it can work on anybody as long as you, like, I guess, like, let's say his denim on denim works because it's like black and gray or whatever, for example. And then if your guys' outfit works for the same reason, even though it does look kind of extravagant and crazy, I think that's totally okay. And like along the lines of that too, I think that just because you're maybe a regular person with a regular job doesn't mean you can't dress crazy / however you want. like what is the worst that could happen is like people look at you. Oh no, you know, as long as it's not breaking any sort of rules.
That's a general impression of me, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, as long as it's not breaking any sort of rules or making other
Fuck is that?
people around you uncomfortable, then yeah, you can dress as
Who
crazy
the
as you want.
fuck let that in?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh man.
Yes, sir.
I liked living in downtown Toronto a lot for that reason because a lot of people there do just walk around like that and they just don't care, you know.
There's a lot of fashion.
Walk into the mall with like, I don't even know, like a giant fur coat and like 65 gold chains. Like why? I don't know, but
100%.
I love the confidence.
Was it Japan that allowed its citizens to dress absolutely however the fuck they want? And you're seeing these people with anime costumes and, you know, 60-year-old guys dressed like Japanese schoolgirls and stuff like that.
I mean, you can dress however you want here.
And nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, that's kind of... Canada's not far off.
It
We're not
depends
far off,
where you are in Canada because
Yeah.
there's a lot of small towns where people are still very conservative.
Oh, but I don't count any of that.
Okay, don't count that.
No, not at all. We're talking about fashion and art. You're not going to
Yeah.
find fashion and art in those dinky little
In the
towns.
woods.
The only
Yeah, true.
fashionable artists you find in those towns are the people that write about how they hate their hometown and leave and go to the big city eventually.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a whole genre of music called pop punk built around that concept.
There Likewise, indeed.
Yeah, dude. All right. Well,
Are we going to continue? Because I can talk all night long with you guys, but
I
we
would
have
love to, but
70
we just
minutes so
have-
far.
I would love to, but we have you know how it is. You know what I'm about to say. I'm on a deadline for a video
Yeah.
that I have to send to a company in like an hour, and I'm just putting on the final touches, but I have to get editing and yeah.
All right, so I guess we're gonna wrap it up for today. If
We can do another one with Lindsay.
absolutely, it's mandatory. So if you who are
She
listening
was
to us,
nervous, man. She was nervous.
was she?
Yeah, she was so
little
nervous. She
bit.
kept asking like hours leading up. Oh, don't give me a little bit. I know when you're nervous. She was really nervous. She was like, "What kind of things are we going to talk about?" I'm like, "You're going to have to wait and find out."
I know. I was like, what's he gonna ask me?
Why though? She knows me. She definitely knows you. So we're just talking.
She's
there's-
never done a podcast.
Yeah, makes sense.
I don't know. That's all it is. That's what it is. That she's never done a podcast.
Yeah.
Right. I did like 3 this week. This is my
I know.
third.
Yeah, you're always
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah. Always talking on my face hole about stuff that I shouldn't really be speaking about anyways. Always pretending I'm more qualified than I really am.
Yeah. Well, it's always better to know how to sell yourself, not that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's right, dude. If you fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for everybody who's listening so far, and if there's any of you listening to the full podcast. And yeah, I'm pretty stoked on doing that again and again because it feels like home with you guys, and I love you so much.
Dude, as soon
Aw.
as the border opens, we have spare bedrooms. Multiple.
Yeah, sure. I'm coming.
Perfect. Of course you are. It's just the border's not going to open for a long time.
Yeah. I
Like
know.
our buddy Zeke's stuck in Australia right now, and he's okay. So Zeke lived in Canada for 4 years, but never got citizenship. But he's from Australia, and he took a trip home in February of this year in order to go and see his family, and then so he got stuck in Australia, and he's still there. And he's
Oh
not
my
going to get to
God.
come home until January at the earliest. That's when the border's going to open up at the earliest.
Isn't that
Yeah,
crazy?
and we have this thing that if you go to another country right now, when you come back, regardless of your states of if you're infected,
house for 2 weeks, yeah.
yeah, and
Same
man,
here. Same here.
I'm-
Every country that's developed is doing
Is
something
it?
like that. Yeah, yeah. USA has the same thing. I know a lot of the UK and parts of Europe are doing the same kind of thing.
Yeah,
If you're away at all and you come back, you're inside for 2 weeks. I mean, for
Absolutely.
God's sakes, like my grandparents are moving out of their home into a nursing home right now. And when they move into the nursing home, there's a special designated floor that they're going to be quarantined on for the first 2 weeks of living there. Then they can come out of their room and do stuff. And they didn't leave the country.
Yeah.
They're just moving down the street.
Wow.
well, it sucks, and being in my 10th or 9th, I don't know anymore, day of quarantine in my home, everybody's dreaming about being at home for 2 weeks and gaming and reading books, listening to music. Man, it sucks so bad.
I've been at home for
Yeah.
3 years. Okay?
I mean-
the first 4 days is fine. After
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
the walls get closer and closer by the day.
When it's a conscious choice, it's fine because you can always choose to go outside. But
Yeah.
when it's not and you have to do it, then it starts to suck.
Definitely, dude. I feel for you. It's hard being inside all the time.
Yeah,
it is.
And
I mean,
the
Very hard.
I go 2-3 weeks without leaving the house just as a regular work days. Like every month, I'm probably the majority of every month I'm in the house and I don't leave. I don't see the sun at all.
Yeah.
Like I get up, I live within the house, and I go to sleep. And even if we're eating out, like it's skip the dishes delivering to the door. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and if my studio was at my home and I didn't have a day job, I'll probably live the same way as you.
Yeah,
and
for
just
sure.
someday they're going to find us dead somewhere in the house.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt, dude. I'm gonna go insane and do something crazy, bro. Like,
No.
yeah. Like, the amount of dope that I gotta smoke to be able to stay in this house.
Oh man.
If I wake up in this room one more time,
Yeah.
Exactly, bro. That's how it feels most days. This is the third podcast I've done this week, and the third time that I'm talking to somebody about this. because it's like it's a thing,
Yeah.
man. Like,
All too
think
real.
about it, bro. I don't have a work to go to, and my studio's in the room right behind the couch that I'm currently sitting on. So, what is the purpose of me going outside?
None.
And here's the better question: where would I even go? Well, that goes in hand, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing to do. You can go to restaurants, but that gets old and expensive really quick.
Yeah.
And we do it. We blow money at restaurants more than we should most months because it's the only way we can escape these four walls. And then we're just sitting at a table across from each other, and then we go home. You know?
A different table.
And like, yeah, I get to say hello to a waitress or
Yeah.
waiter or something. You
Yeah,
know? You
yeah.
get one person human contact.
Have you thought
Yeah,
about?
people are-
Have you thought about making a? And I'm asking both of you, making vlogging part of your channels, and maybe because you
We've
know
thought,
when you're vlogging, you don't have to. I mean, it's nice to be in home in the studio with the lights, but when you're vlogging, it's not so. It's not so official, so you just basically can grab your camera and go by the lake or by the sea, whatever, and talk about pretty much whatever you want. And I saw this from Peter McKinnon, and I was so blown away because, this is my way of actually interacting with the world, different than editing in my home or playing at the studio. So it could be pretty refreshing. I mean, you can,
Yeah.
and since you don't have a job to go to and nobody's expecting you anywhere, you can go whatever you want, whenever you want.
That's true.
That is true, yeah.
Maybe
I
we
really
should
would.
try and do that more.
I want to vlog a lot on my channel. That's what I was hoping for.
All right, yeah, we can try and do that. Vlogging's tough because the edits on vlogs are way harder than what we do now.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
they are.
they are.
So tough, man. Like, you really have to have your skills together as an editor to be, and the like, because of how much throwaway there is,
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you're going through footage for hours in some
Yeah.
cases.
And sometimes if like while you're filming the vlog, if you're filming like a sequence of events and you forget to film something,
That's the hardest part.
It ruins
Yeah,
everything else
yeah.
because you're like,
100%.
man, I didn't get that on camera. Now it's gonna make no sense. Like
This
the
is
rest of it.
Yeah, this
And
is
then
why you
scrap
have
the
an
whole thing.
agenda.
Yeah.
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 Okay, I have to hard stop it here, but next time we do it, the three of us, we're going to no subject. We'll just shoot the shit for an hour.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Okay. Great.
Sure.
Great.
Okay, I got to get to editing. Thank you so much. It's been
Thank
another
you
amazing
too,
episode.
guys. Thank you very much. See you next time, Wyatt.
Next week.
Next
Next week, bro. We'll figure out a guest. I'll try and lock somebody down.
All right.